and then you have a table of contents. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Then you have a table of contents. Let me. How to make it smaller. 1 second. I just have to reload it again. Okay, you have a table of content. Okay. Now, in your case, okay, in your case, your presentation is different. Okay. In your case, you don't have this. Okay, you don't have this part here. Okay, you don't have that. Okay, that's basically your table of contents. Okay, what is missing in this table of contents here in this presentation is after the competitor analysis, you should have value chain. Okay, and after the Rio analysis, you have a blue ocean. Okay. So that's what your table of content should be, right? Something like that. 6, there should be 7, and then should be 2.8. Okay. Now, why I changed this here now is because the assignment is different now. Okay. Until the cohort 14 or 15. Actually, this assignment was switched with the group university, okay, to comply with the university layout and standard, okay. So that's what you need to do here. You need to establish the strategic position, the macro analysis, okay? And now what is wrong here in terms of strategic position, it's about the macro environment, okay? So when you look at the introduction itself, first of all, you talk about the business briefly, okay? What's the business all about, okay? Now, what's the size of the business, what the business is doing, what the business is involved in, okay? That should be maybe 1-2 slides, okay? Don't use too much statistics. It's good to know the size of the business, but don't use only statistics. Focus a little bit about the type of industry the business is in, what is their product range is important as well to know. Maybe a little bit the plans they're having or where are they active at the moment. Okay, so that's the business brief. And then besides of the business brief, we can go and talk about what's the core values and competencies. What do they care about? Okay. Of course, when you do a slide like this, on the slide you don't have a lot of information, right? On the slide itself, you have the most important part. You apply the concept, right? And what you have in terms of in explanation, that's basically it should be down here, okay? When you can see some of these slides here, they have very little explanation. Because I ask students always not to write a lot in terms of text, okay? But you have your main text is down here, okay? Your overall analysis is down here. So on the slide itself, you want to make the slide interesting. You want to make the slide interesting. And then the slide itself, you have key information. You can highlight some of this information if you want to. For example, you highlight what they're doing, okay? Only highlight that by making it colorful, okay? Or use a different color. Or then when you do the presentation, you can focus on that. So if the company brief, the value core competencies of the company can be included. Then you have the types of segments they may be involved with, or target or positioning, where they position themselves in relation to other industry players. And then you have the stakeholder analysis, where you talk about who are the key players, the key stakeholders, and what is their importance, okay? For example, in this case, the key stakeholders are the consumer, the supplier, and the investors. And of course, you need to explain that, not just mentioning them. You need to be able to explain why do you believe that those are the key players, okay? Of course, the level of interest and the power, but you need to explain, okay, what's the power of the investors? What's the power of the consumers? What's the power of the suppliers? Why is their power high? Okay, why is the power high in relationship to this group here, which have minimal effort? Why is their interest high? Okay, why is their interest higher than, let's say, the interest of the government? So you need to explain and analyze that. And as with any slides, don't forget, always in the slides you do in-text referencing. Okay. So then next what you do is when you have introduced the company, when we know now what this company is all about, what this company cares about, and who are the key players in the company, the next you start actually analyzing, okay? You always start with different kinds of systems. Like you can use framework, you can use PEST, you can use PESTO, you can use skeptical, but you have to use a framework, okay? A framework from the book in order to get to include all the different aspects of the analysis, okay? So here you have the macro analysis, okay? You may look at the macro analysis. Be careful that you're not too generic, okay? In case here it talks about the level of corruption, okay? This level of corruption, you need to be validate a little bit, okay? But in this particular case, when you do a macro environmental analysis, what you should do is the following, okay? Let me make that clear. Okay. You should look at megatrends, inflection points, and weak signals. Okay. Make sure you address those, okay? Trends, okay? Don't have statistics. Why megatrends, inflection points, and weak signals? Because you're looking for opportunities, okay? So if I know that the Swiss government has 7 federal councils, speaks 26 languages, what's the opportunity there? Okay, opportunities always are opening up if something changes. If something is different now than before, or something is changing over time, or there's a key shift during a specific time, or specific date, that always opens up opportunities or creates a threat. It's dangerous for the business, okay? Or at the moment, you have lots of trends, right? You have the trends of an increased likelihood of pandemic. You have trends of a recession, economic recession. You have trends of economic isolation from the United States. You have the Brexit. You have trends of social upheaval about through demonstration. The lower middle class, the general population is demonstrating more for different social causes like equal opportunity, discrimination, global warming, more rights to women, and so on, right? There's so many events taking place socially, politically, as well as economic, environmental, and as well legal changes which are taking place, okay? So this you need to address. So don't when you talk about macro analysis, okay, it's not about I want to make it smaller. It's not about decision, okay? It's not about it's not about it's not about statistics, okay? Or should be to some degree clear on specific, okay? Like if you talk about Switzerland, the military invasion is less likely to happen, okay? Another mega trend at the moment is there's an increased consciousness among people about the growing influence of China. And there's an increase that China gets more and more self-confident. And that causes certain conflicts. In terms of the trade route in Southeast Asia, which are more controlled by China, and some feel threatened about it. Conflicts of protecting trade routes in the Mediterranean. So there's an increased likelihood that you have conflict, not necessarily armed conflict, but conflict in terms of dispute with regards to trade routes, with regards to legal issues, with regards to control, to vital infrastructure. And there are voices, increasing number of voices, which raise concerns. Okay, and if people raise concerns, they will of course increase, or it's more likely to have rules and regulation which trying to be more protective, and that means you have more protectivism taking place. You have more likelihood that countries increase the trade barriers. Okay, so that's the macro analysis you need to. In macro analysis, you can have, of course, more than one slide. Okay, if you talk about a 20 minutes presentation, usually look at one slide per minute. Okay. Then you have the industry analysis. On the industry analysis, you have to make sure that you focus on the industry. Okay, so whatever business you are actually involved in, if you have a hotel, it's the hospitality business. If you have Nestle, it's the consumer product business industry. So you need to look at the industry. Students sometimes forget and start analyzing the business in relation to the business, okay? So you need to focus on the industry. Okay, when you focus on the industry, you need to address, okay, the five forces, and you need to explain that whether it's low or high, and you need to establish whether this is, at the end of the day, the industry is attractive or not. In an attractive industry, you have more likely opportunities to grow, okay? And an attractive industry is when you have all the resources low, okay? Now, when you look at the resources, have a look. What are the issues like bargaining power, switching cost, okay, barriers of entries, right? This one here is very limited in scope. This slide, okay, it addresses all the issues. It's done right, but it's limited in scope. And of course, when you do that, you need to again reference it. Okay. Now, once you have done with the quarters or the industry analysis, then you focus on the industry life cycle. Okay, where does the industry at the moment standing in terms of the industry development? Okay, it could be that it's an emerging industry, that's at the moment it's a booming or growing industry, or that the industry is in maturity level, or at the moment even declining. Okay, like the telephone, mobile phones are at the moment maturity level. Okay, electric cars, electricity, electric mobility is maybe somewhere here in the growing stage. Okay, whereas space travel, private sector space travel may be at the development stage, an late development stage. So different industries have different stages, and this you need to do in combination with the industry attractiveness. You can see here there's an indication about the industry attractiveness linked to the industry life cycle. Okay, and you need to analyze this a little bit to establish where the industry stands at the moment. Okay, next. Oops, I always click on there. I should click on the slide. Sorry. Okay. Next, what you do is you look at competitors. Who are your key competitors? Okay. Okay. Here, just show an overall effect. This slide actually here, no good. Better is if we do a competitor mapping. And competitor mapping has two distinct drivers. Okay, and this is similarity of product, similarity of markets. Okay, not price. Similarity of products, similarity of markets. That should be the two criteria for you to identify where you are in terms of the overall market competition in the market, and who will be your main competitors. Once you have identified the competitors, then you can do a SWOT on those, and again you can combine that. Okay, you have here the SWOT, the strengths and the weakness. Okay, and always remember, okay, these items here, the strengths and the weakness, this is internal. Okay, so those are internals. That means it's what's happening inside your business, okay? And what's happening inside your business in comparison to your competitor. For example, you have inside your business a very high efficiency in terms of maintaining and controlling inventory, okay? In relation to your competitor, but it's inside your business, this process, the process of storing and inventory products or items you need for your production. Okay. The external factors. This one here. This is outside of your business. Okay. So there is nothing to do with items like a brand or things like this. It has to do with your external economic environment. Okay. You can see here, virus is an operational threat, corruption and theft. This is outside your business, okay? increase the price of raw materials. In the pharmaceutical industry, it's very important. This case is about Johnson & Johnson. And it has shown that during a pandemic, there are potential supply shortages because a lot of raw materials are actually coming from China today, right? It has shown that the pharmaceutical companies in Europe are very vulnerable to shortages in supply of raw ingredients they need in order to produce certain medicines, certain pills. And that causes then a shortage in the market itself for in the drugstores and hospitals, etc. Okay, so external factors, threat and opportunities, both are external. As opportunities are external. Okay, what are the opportunities which opening up because of external factors? And then when you have established the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threat, next what you can develop is strategies. Okay, what strengths which are listed here, which are internal, which you have, can you use in order to grab some of the opportunities which are available to you. Okay. At the same time, you have here, what strengths do you have which help you to reduce the likelihood of a threat? In what way? Okay, so that's what you get. This one here, the red one, this one here, this is your toes. Okay, but first you need the strengths and weakness. Again, you can see this is one slide. You can do that in 2 slides if you want, but it's 1 slide. Okay. Once you have done that, and they haven't addressed that one yet, okay, then you would do a value chain analysis, okay? Say very weaknesses. Instead of looking at whole product, you would use processes in the value chain analysis. Processes. And when you do a value chain analysis, of course, you also have value systems. You have maybe other factors in your value system, which is like suppliers, or maybe have optimized the process with regard to your distribution channels, etc. They help you as well to gain strength. Okay, if processes you have are more efficient, more effective than your competitors, that's a strength as well. That gives you a competitive advantage. Okay. Now, once you have done the SWOT, the toes and the value chain, next what you do is you are establishing the Brio analysis, and that's what Olga asked me. Okay. There's Olga. Okay, then. So in the Rio analysis, what you have is, you first of all, you have different types of resources, okay? You have tangible resources, intangibles. So tangibles is the one you actually can touch, you can see, okay? And in this description here, this is a bit too vague, okay? So what you should do is actually, all these resources you have on competencies, not just resources, competencies, you should list them based on your findings from your SWOT analysis and from your value chain, okay? So basically, your strengths here and your weaknesses should be listed there, okay, here. That should be listed here, strengths and weaknesses. Okay, as well as value chain processes. And your strengths and weaknesses can be, on processes, can be categorized in tangible, intangible resources, whereas intangible resources are actually competencies. And then you have financial resources and human resources. And when each of these, okay, you need to check, or you need to analyze is it valuable? Why is it valuable? What's the value for the clients? What's the value for the business? Okay. Is it rare? Okay. Who else has that? You're the only one has it, or there may only 10% of players in the market has it. And then you have like inimitability. That means difficult to copy. Why? Or it cannot be copied. Why? Because of rules, because of regulation, because there are insufficient resources available to do so. Maybe there is a limited number of know-how in the market to do so, and so on. That's the reason why it cannot be copied. And then you have the last one, organizational support. What's the organization doing to support or to help make this resource or this competency here more valuable, okay? Or maintain its valuability, okay? So that can be through policies, procedures, providing manpower, providing the right finances, helping to out rules and regulations, and so on. So management can do a lot of things to make this sort of competencies even more valuable or maintain this valuability. Okay. Now, when you have all these resources, you should have a list of all, but in the presentation, you maybe pick one like that. Maybe pick one of parity here. Okay. Only maybe pick one which is a sustained competitive advantage here. Oops, sorry. Undo that. Okay. You pick one. Yet the list should be complete. Okay. But you pick one, and then you highlight 2 or 3 until display. Okay, so you can explain everything. You should have a complete analysis, but you pick 1 or 2 examples. Okay. Okay, Carla? Okay. So once you have done your RIO analysis, right? And you can see the RIO analysis, the item, your strengths and your weakness here, okay? You need to analyze that. When you analyze using all 4 criteria to come to a conclusion, whether this is sustainable, temporary, or in parity, or sometimes maybe even it's a disadvantage, okay? So once you have done that, oh, I always go to the wrong slide, okay? Once you have done that, next what you can do is, you can actually then do the blue ocean, okay? You do a blue ocean. And in the blue ocean, what you do is, I don't have an example of the blue ocean in this presentation here, but in the blue ocean, what you do is, you have something which has parity, it's basically red ocean, okay? That means you have a lot of competitors, you have to have it, you need to compete. If you don't have, you're actually not competitive, okay? With this product, the product diversification, maybe you would have to maintain that. You have to have a selection of products, otherwise you're not competitive, okay? That's a challenge. Or if you have the green one, sustainable competitive advantage, that would be blue ocean. That means nobody has it, it's very rare, you don't have a competition, things like that. That's actually what is your crown jewels, okay? And if you have something which is temporary, like this one here, okay? This one here, that would be pink ocean. Okay, pink. I don't have a pink label here. Let's make it orange. Okay. So that would be pink ocean temporary. That means you have a slight advantage there, but you need to try to have this temporary advantage you have. You try to prolong that, okay? We can do that by increasing your barriers of copying, okay? It's rare, it's very valuable, but it cannot be copied, or it can be eventually copied. That's why it's temporary. Well, that means you trying to increase to make it more difficult to copy. We can work together with regulators. You can maybe look at protecting the supply chain, or making sure that the raw ingredients or whatever you need are being not accessible that easily to your competitors. For example, if I have let's say I have a product and I'm the only one who has this product and I import it from outside of Switzerland, by offering that to my clients, okay? What I also can do is I maybe can get maybe from the government the import license to become the sole importers into Switzerland. And by doing that, I can control the supply chain. I have it. To be the sole importer in Switzerland is not so difficult to become. It's a matter of carving out a few $1,000s for a license. But what I do is I'm controlling the supply coming into Switzerland, and by doing that, I can prevent my competitors from acquiring the resource they need, or make it more difficult for them from acquiring the source they need. Okay, that's one way I can extend this temporary competitive advantage. Okay, the same is a license. If I have a patent of a new invention, I have a temporary advantage for maybe 10, 20 years, but eventually the license will be lost. But during that time, I'm trying to use that to my advantage. Okay, this is Rio. Does that help you, Olga?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. You can have done that. Again, this is an older assignments. They have more. Summarize the lot. Okay. Inclusion my slide. Then you have your referencing. Okay. You have to have at least 10, 12 academic references. The exact number is written in your assignment. Okay. And you need to have references in the text, like here. This is in-text referencing. This is in-text referencing here. This is, and you have to have a reference list. Okay. When you present, make sure that you present without notes, without reading notes. Learn your text. That means if you actually do the research, if you put the slide together based on research, not just copy, paste, you then actually are able to explain it without much notes, because you know what you did. You just basically explain what you did and what your findings are. Okay. Don't forget, there's a lot of material to quote which you have already. One of it is your course book. I think they maybe have it here. This is the Johnson course book. Here, it's one you can put in. Cathy Enns is another one in terms of hospitality, and then of course many other kind of references. Okay. So this is for your group assignment. So why, to summarize, why do students fail? Number one, they miss to include some important frameworks. Number two, when they use the frameworks, sometimes they forget what is a business strategy. They start talking about marketing strategy, they talk about price, they talk about branding, they talk about product. And this is not a marketing or marketing strategy course. This is a business strategy course. So you talk about the business as a whole, okay? On the third aspect, what students do is very often is they don't reference. They just have a compilation of whatever they think, right, without supporting it by research. Okay, and that is very important for master's level presentation. Okay, so that's our tutorial. Any questions?